I'm pro-life because 38 some years ago, I aborted my first child, and the regret lasts forever. So, it's really important that we're out here to say abortion is not healthcare. Abortion hurts women. Abortion obviously kills the baby, but it also hurts the generations. So my children have been affected by it as well, and I will never see grandchildren, great-grandchildren from that child.
Over 10 years ago, I had an abortion with my very first child, and for 10 years, I struggled with shame, guilt, rejection.
All right, I'm going to say the thing I'm not supposed to say. I think I regret my abortion. I had an abortion when I was like 22, 23 years old, and now I'm 36, and I can no longer have kids. I had a myomectomy around like 2015, 2016, and then I had a hysterectomy in 2021, and now I can't have kids. I had a chance to have kids, but I had an abortion, and now I can't have kids at all. And I had this whole life planned out where, I would have a partner, and we would build a home together, and we would have kids, and we would grow and build, our bloodline. But that's not going to happen for me. And when I got that abortion, the guy, he did not want me to have it. He refused to pay for it because he did not want me to have this abortion. And I thought, there's no way this man is going to take care of this kid. And a couple years later, he got a woman pregnant, took care of his kid, at least last I saw. And so now here I am, unable to have kids. And the reality is that most people don't want to be with a woman who can't have kids at my age. They're looking for a woman who can. And I'm about to take this bar exam, and I'm like, why? What purpose do I have to move forward and take this exam if I can't have kids? I can't, have a bloodline. And that's the thing that I'm not supposed to say out loud, which is sometimes I regret my abortion. Did I make the right choice? Who knows? And I want you to know that, I think people should have the right to choose. I just think that I personally regret my abortion. In hindsight, maybe I could have had that kid. Maybe he would have taken care of that kid. Maybe if not, my family would have. It would have got me closer to family a lot sooner, location-wise, if I did have a child, because I was not living near any family at the time. But yeah, I think I regret my abortion. And I've been doing a lot of rallies for abortion rights, and I've been fueling a lot of that anger into activism. But now I'm really exhausted. I'm exhausted with my racist law school. I'm exhausted with feeling like I have to fight to be seen, to be heard. And yeah, that's the thing you're not supposed to say out loud.
I know I'm probably gonna get so much hate for this. The whole coming on video and crying thing. But I have a reason why. Today, for the first time, I'm going to honor the precious baby that I didn't acknowledge in the womb when I had my abortion in 2023. I know that there are many women who will say they don't regret their abortion, but that's a lie. That's such a lie from the pits of hell, and your baby really did matter, and they didn't deserve to die. I processed it for the first time last year, and every Mother's Day that did pass, I ignored it because I was very numb to what had happened, and I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to think about it at all. Just wanted to move on with my life. But today, today I'm acknowledging that that was a life, that was a human being, and they didn't deserve to die. They didn't deserve to die because of my foolish and reckless choices. They did it.
Does nobody talk about how hard abortions are on a woman? It's probably been a month. And I hate myself every day. It sucks because in the moment I felt like I was doing the right thing. But every time I'm going to bed or I'm just alone, I just think about like, what if? Because I'm not a child, like I'm an adult, so this shit just like hit me on a different level. I had all the means in the world to do it on my own. But I thought like I did it so that it would benefit not just me, but also everyone else. And I'm just so broken. And I just want this to be over with already. Like, I'm emotionally drained. I can't do this anymore.
You know, it takes so much courage to admit regret. And that's something that you rarely see in the abortion conversation today. So many women are told that they'll feel relief, but instead they carry this quiet pain afterwards. And that says something. It's time that we start being honest about what abortion really does to women, both physically and mentally.
There's a subject that comes up constantly in online spaces about pregnancy and choice, but almost never gets talked about honestly: regret. Over the past year, an enormous number of women have started posting short videos where they admit something they say they're not supposed to say. That years after their abortion, they still think about it, still feel the weight of it, and in some cases, deeply regret the decision. The most common thread across these videos isn't about politics, it's about permission. Over and over, women preface their stories with some version of, "I know I'm going to get hate for this," or "I'm not supposed to say this." Several describe supporting abortion rights on a policy level, while privately carrying grief about their own personal decision, and feeling like admitting that grief makes them a traitor to a cause they otherwise believe in. And that tension keeps showing up, supporting the right to choose while regretting a specific choice. Two things that are apparently allowed to both be true, even though online discourse rarely leaves room for that. There's also a pattern around how the decision itself gets made. Many women describe feeling rushed through the process without much space for reflection or support. Decisions made quickly, sometimes within a single day, and clinics that were, by their account, efficient but impersonal. Several describe going through the experience essentially alone, not necessarily physically, but emotionally, surrounded by people who knew what was happening, but never really asked how they felt about it, before or after. A recurring line in these testimonies is some version of it. Not one person asked if I was okay. And this isn't a video about telling you what to believe about abortion policy. It's about a pattern that a lot of women say gets shut down the moment they try to bring it up. And it's a pattern that goes deeper than most people realize. So many women are told they'll feel relief, but instead they carry a quiet pain afterward. And that says something. It's time we start being honest about what this actually does to women, both physically and mentally. But for now, let me play you a few more clips and then I'll be back with more commentary.
I have abortions later. I finally prayed after telling God in prayers, I won't do it again, I won't do it again, I promise. I finally prayed and said, I don't know how to stop. I don't know how to stop running to these abortion facilities as a birth control method, as a, last minute option. And so I need help. I need my mind to be shocked. I need something else, because what I've been trying to do to stuff the pain and to do better and to serve more in church and to get better grades, I don't know how to break this. And so that was when I got introduced to pro-life organization, and my life was completely changed because I learned what abortion was. I stopped ignoring the truth, and that was what helped me break the cycle. I have two beautiful children now that I'm blessed to have, and a husband that forgave me for aborting two of his children. Those were the last two abortions, and I have been on this journey to helping women and helping them understand that abortion is not the answer, and that they can heal after abortion, because if they get healed prayerfully, and hopefully they won't have more.
I have been pregnant once in my life,
And you know, sometimes when I first made my decision, it didn't really bother me then, but I feel like it bothers me a lot now, years later. I think about it a lot. I'm regretful for my decision. The person who I was pregnant by did want me to keep the baby. I think about it a lot, and I try not to get emotional. Sometimes I do get emotional about it, but that's something that I would open up about, like a way to open up about it, or what to say, or how the video would go, or should I even open up about it? Should I even talk about it?
I'm going to tell you a story that even thinking about telling you makes me want to start crying. Many, many years ago, I was going out with this girl. This is way back before I knew Jesus. I was going out with this girl, and we was doing things we shouldn't have been doing, and I already had a little girl. She had a little girl. And anyway, it wasn't going nowhere. The relationship wasn't going anywhere. She knew it. I knew it. We were just doing things just because. We ended it. And then about 2 months later, she showed up at my house, and she told me that she was pregnant. And I just stared at her. I just stared at her in disbelief. And it was like I was waiting on her to say, I'm just joking. But she didn't. And I could tell in her eyes that she wasn't kidding. And back in them days, I was very, very pro-choice back then. And so I looked at her and I said, here's every bit of money I have. It wasn't much. But I said, go to Houston and get it taken care of. And she looked at me in disbelief. And she said, are you sure that's what you want? And I shook my head, yeah. And she walked out of my house. She went down to Houston by herself. And then I saw her about 2 weeks later. We didn't speak of it. We didn't say a word about it. When I looked at her and she looked at me, I knew. What was supposed to be a privilege, I looked at as a burden. What was supposed to bring joy, I looked at it as a nightmare. I blocked that day out of my brain. I blocked it. For over 10 years, I blocked it out of my brain. One day I was coming home from work. I was married. I had 3 kids. And I was headed home from work. And God brought that to my attention, what I had done. And I lost my stinking mind. It's a pain I never want anybody to feel. I've never in my life felt so much sorrow as the day that he brought that back to my attention. You see, it didn't just affect the child. It affected many lives. It's not too often. I don't even know why I'm telling you this story, but it's not too often that I talk about this because of the pain. That lady's life was forever affected. My life forever affected. There's obviously some reason I'm saying this. I want you to know it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's been about 30 years ago. And it's still to this moment, to this very moment. It sucks. And I regret that decision. I hate it. Absolutely hate it. I ain't making this video for likes or comments or for shares. I don't give a crap about none of that. What I care about is somebody don't make the same mistake I made. I know I've been forgiven. Don't get me wrong, it's not looking for sorrow. I know I've been forgiven. I don't think it, I know it. But being forgiven for something doesn't take away the pain of it. It doesn't take away the consequences of what happened. There's still a child that never got to see her first day on this earth. There's still a mother to a child that I assure you, I haven't seen that woman. I haven't seen her at all in 30 years. But you know, if this hurts me this bad, it also hurts her that bad. And she lives with that. I have a current wife. I have 3 children. It affects all of us. So if it's for you, if this video is for you, don't do it. It's a decision you'll regret for the rest of your life.
I was to be honest, I don't think I knew what I was doing. The coping mechanisms I used to get by was definitely work, definitely alcohol, definitely drugs. When something is ripped from you, it leaves a hole. A big, ugly hole. I never imagined what was going to happen physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. What I know now is that whatever decision somebody chooses is forever.
Is this a safe space or is y'all gonna judge me? I want to talk about abortions and abortion guilt. So in my experience, I've experienced 2 abortions. One was very early, I think I was like 12 weeks. The other one, I was way farther than 12 weeks, I'm gonna say that. And the first one really didn't affect me at all because I was just so sick that I literally could not do anything. Like, I was so sick, I couldn't work, I couldn't do nothing but throw up, I couldn't eat, I couldn't do nothing but throw up. So it was really bad for me. Like, it was horrible. My second abortion, I was traumatized. Like, it was a very traumatic experience for me. I did it because I felt like I needed to in order to not be a 2-time single mom. I didn't want my baby to grow up without having her dad, and he was just being really inconsistent. And when I told him, hey, I'm thinking about terminating, he was like, okay. And he was actually my boyfriend. We were actually dating, and he started acting real funny towards me. Like, so it was just like, yeah, I can't deal with this. Like, I can't do it. I was also very sick with that pregnancy, but I was able to eat. Like, it wasn't as bad as the first abortion that I had. I can honestly say I 100% completely regret terminating my child because of the father. and his decisions and how he wanted to treat me. When I say I was crying myself to sleep, I was so depressed. Like, I was praying to God. I just couldn't do it. Like, I was losing myself, and I knew how traumatic it was to bring a baby into this world. You can literally lose your life. I didn't want to do that alone. I've never experienced it alone. My daughter's dad, we dated, we were together. Like, he was there for me the whole pregnancy. Like, when I brought up terminating the pregnancy, he was like, well, you not doing that. Like, I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do. And he stood on that. So for me, having that support while you're pregnant was big. And I just didn't have that. I feel like I was losing the mental battle. But let's talk about the aftermath. I feel like abortion guilt is really real. And I noticed a lot of these ladies just use abortions like it's birth control, and it's not. That's not the case. A lot of these women glorify having abortions, but nobody really talks about the what ifs and what my baby was gonna look like, and what my life would have been like if I kept my baby. Does my baby hate me? Did she experience any pain? Like, all of those things that run through your mind when you have an abortion. I can honestly say I would never, ever, ever terminate any pregnancy ever again in my life, because the guilt just stays with me day in and day out. Like, every day I think about my baby. Every single day I miss my child. Sometimes I cry. Like, it's horrible. The aftermath is horrible. And then people be in there making you feel like you're doing the best. You're making the best decision that you could. But honestly, I feel like they doing that to manipulate you, because they getting something out of you terminating your baby. Like, it's not just for you. It's a business for a reason. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. And I just wonder, do any other abortion moms, and yes, I said abortion moms because we're still moms at the end of the day. We still carry the child to a certain extent. Like, it still was a connection. I feel like some people do be heartless and think like, oh, you killed your baby, blah, 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 like judging you. But whole time, a lot of us moms were put in a situation that we didn't want to be in. And if I was a little bit more financially stable and I was able to do it on my own, I would have did it on my own.
Took the abortion pill. It was in a little Dixie cup, and I swallowed it, and she checked my mouth. Oddly enough, they check your mouth to make sure you swallowed the abortion pill, but the rest of the abortion you do completely on your own without any medical supervision. So as I reflect back on that, I think that is so strange. And then I was just sent on my way with a brown paper bag, much like what you would pack, your luncheon. And by the time I got to my car, which maybe only took a minute and a half, 2 minutes, I sat down and I started going through the bag, and I remember just feeling paralyzed and thinking, oh my gosh, what did I just do? I have a baby at home that I love very much. I'm getting more and more attached to this baby that's growing inside of me. I started thinking, has the pill already run its course in the last couple minutes? Has the baby already passed away? Did it feel any pain? And I just wanted so badly to take back the last 10 minutes.
I've just seen someone say that after they took the abortion pill, they looked down there to see the mess, and they saw their baby. They saw their baby curled up, arms to chest, curled up in their underwear. They saw their baby. I'm not going to put the comment on here because I want to respect the person's privacy. This is the reality of abortion. This baby has hands, feet, organs, a heartbeat, a brain that is developing, and we just normalise just unaliving it. If you feel like abortion is the only option, it's not. There is help out there. There is hope. There are so many charities that want to help pregnant people. I had a DIY at-home abortion, and it was the most traumatic event of my life. My DIY at-home abortion was more traumatic than 31 hours of labour with my current baby. I would rather do 31 hours of labour than a traumatic DIY at-home abortion, because there was no hope. I was laying on my bathroom floor crying my eyes out, being violently sick from what my body was going through. I think my heart physically broke reading that comment.
I post a lot about my solo pregnancy, about how I was single and pregnant from very early on in my pregnancy. Always wanted my son. I wanted to have him regardless of what his decision was to be involved or not. And something I will say is that I have never heard a mother say that they regret keeping their child. But every single time that I post a video about my story, I am always flooded with comments of women saying that they did not keep their baby and that they regret that decision. And I think that is something that we need to talk about more, because I feel like a lot of people glamorize abortion and glamorize the choice not to keep your child. They're like, oh, I'd run to the clinic. Oh, I'd be at the clinic so fast. But I don't think that it's talked about enough, the fact that that is a decision that you are going to have to live with for the rest of your life. Like, there is so much regret tied into that for a lot of women, like more so than we hear about. Saddest part is that a majority of these women don't want to give up their baby. They don't want to make the decision not to keep their child. If they felt like they could do it alone, if they felt like they had the support, if he had told you, keep the baby, we can do it together, you would have had the baby. The only reason why a lot of these mothers decide not to keep the child is because they are afraid that they are not strong enough. They are not capable of doing it alone. Society tells us, like, oh, every kid needs a mom and a dad. Like, if your kid doesn't have that, he's at a disadvantage. Like, you might as well, like, do the better thing and not have that child, which is so far from the truth. Like, so far from the truth. And I am a perfect example of that. Like, I did it alone for the first 16 months of my child's life. And now he has a 2-parent household, right? My boyfriend has stepped into that father role. I just think that the most important thing that I would tell to any mother who is in this position, finds herself making this decision, obviously, everybody can make that choice for themselves. Make whatever choice you think is best for you. But what I will tell you is, do not make a permanent decision based off of temporary circumstances. Just because you are single right now in this moment does not mean that you will be single. Does not mean that you're going to forever be a single mom and that your child's never going to have a father figure. Just because his father decides not to be an involved parent does not mean that your child will be at a disadvantage, does not mean that you're not strong enough to do it alone, does not mean that your child will not have a happy, healthy, and full life. You are strong enough to do it alone. And if you feel any sense of doubt within you that you want to keep this child, I would tell you to do it, because that is not a regret that you want to live with for the rest of your life.
Currently pregnant again, and I found out how far along I was. I reached out to my ex-boyfriend to let him know that I'm pregnant and everything like that, and that the baby is his. He literally blocked me on every social media, and he texted me and told me that he will talk to me once he get the DNA test, and that he don't want nothing to do with this baby as of now. I am so fed up that why do us moms have to be responsible for everything, but you lay down and make this kid with me.
Hey y'all, this is my son. Say hi. Yeah, say hi. That video was about my second pregnancy. I had got an abortion and stuff, and I ended up handling that situation due to the simple fact that I wasn't in the right state of mind, mentally, but I'm doing okay now, you feel me? I got my son, so that's all I'm focused on right now. Hopefully God blesses me with another child. Hopefully, but I'm doing well and I'm doing okay, just to let you all know. So I'm fine. Yeah.
One of the most striking patterns across all of this is how often the emotional impact doesn't show up right away. Many women describe feeling numb, relieved, or simply focused on moving forward in the immediate aftermath, and then, months or years later, being caught off guard by a wave of grief they didn't expect. Triggers mentioned include Mother's Day, a later pregnancy, a birthday that would have belonged to the child, or simply getting older and having more time to reflect. Several describe actively suppressing the memory for years, sometimes over a decade, before it resurfaced during an unrelated, ordinary event and hit them harder than they expected. This delayed onset pattern is echoed by both men and women in this genre of content, including partners who supported or paid for the procedure at the time and later found themselves unexpectedly affected by the memory years into an otherwise stable, happy life. There's also a recurring theme involving the relationships surrounding the decision. Some women describe partners who pushed for their abortion and later went on to have children with someone else, something several describe as more painful in hindsight than the procedure itself. Others describe partners who wanted to keep the pregnancy, were overruled, and say the relationship didn't survive the aftermath either way. A lack of a stable partner or financial security comes up again and again as the main driver of the decision, with many later reflecting that their circumstances changed in ways they couldn't have predicted at the time, which is part of what fuels the regret. Now, here's where it's worth zooming out, because the research on this doesn't fully match what you see in these comment sections, and a good breakdown has to acknowledge that. The most cited long-term academic study on this topic, the Turnaway study out of UC San Francisco, followed nearly 1,000 women for 5 years after seeking abortions and found that the majority reported relief as their dominant emotion over time, with regret reported by a smaller share. That study has also faced methodological criticism from researchers who argued it undercounts negative outcomes. Meanwhile, platforms like TikTok tend to surface exactly the opposite pattern, because people actively processing grief are more likely to post about it than people who feel at peace with their decision. Support communities and faith-based recovery groups, which several women in this space reference explicitly, also self-select for people who are struggling. So the honest takeaway isn't everyone regrets it or nobody regrets it. It's that both experiences are real. The data is genuinely mixed, and anyone telling you it's simple in either direction probably has an agenda. So what's actually going on here? Part of it is a genuine gap in how these decisions get supported. Multiple women in this space describe wanting more counseling, more time, and more honest conversation about what that experience might feel like afterward. Not necessarily a different outcome, just a better supported process. That's a fairly uncontroversial ask, regardless of where someone lands on the broader legal debate. Part of it is also about permission to have complicated feelings. A recurring idea across these videos is that modern discourse tends to flatten this into two boxes: empowered and at peace, or traumatized and against it, when the reality for a lot of people seems to sit somewhere in between. Supporting someone's right to make a decision and personally grieving that same decision aren't contradictions. They're just two things that are uncomfortable to hold at the same time. And social media doesn't always leave room for nuance like that. And part of it is timing. The pattern of delayed grief showing up years later, often around anniversaries or major life events, suggests that a lot of the emotional processing simply doesn't happen in the window when people are most publicly discussing the topic, which might explain why this specific type of testimony feels like it's flooding social media right now. It's less that regret is new and more that more people are finally reaching the point years later where they're ready to talk about it. If there's one thing worth taking away from all of this, is that the conversation around abortion regret doesn't need to be a weapon for either side of the political debate. It can just be an honest acknowledgement that big, permanent decisions sometimes come with complicated, long-term emotional aftermath, and that people going through that deserve space to say so without being shut down.
I'm still really sad about my abortion.
If you made it this far, I appreciate you watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is a topic that deserves a respectful conversation, not a shouting match. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. Creators' handles are in the description box below. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.